Hello and welcome to this second video on Rxindi, the powerful templating and data merge extension for InDesign. In this video we'll show how Rxindi can be used to conditionally include or exclude content from a template based on some external data. Additionally, we'll show how to repeat content. In case you haven't done so already, make sure to watch the Rxindi introduction video first, to familiarize yourself with some of its core concepts. Link in the description. Continuing on with the same example as in the introduction video, we have a template for an order confirmation letter. Now, say that we only want to include the line with the promotion code, if the customer is eligible to receive one. In the data file, let's assume there is a field indicating eligibility for the customer using a value of 1 or 0. Now, what we can do here is go into the text frame, and just before the line that we only want to include conditionally, begin a new placeholder. The statement type that we want to use here is the if statement, and its single character symbol is a question mark. The argument for if is the condition that should be true for the content following it to appear. So let's type here, eligible equals 1, and close the placeholder. This will work, but we're not quite done yet. As it is currently, all content following the if statement will be included or excluded based on the condition. However, we only want the single line to be conditional, and not the rest. To remedy this, we need to define the end of the conditional block. We can do this by adding another placeholder and statement at the point where we want the conditionality to end. The statement for explicitly closing a block is called end, and its symbol is a period. End has no further arguments. Now we're done. This should be okay. Let's save the template and try it out. First, we'll select a data file with a customer that is not eligible. As you can see, the line is correctly excluded. Now a file with a customer that is eligible. And, yes, the line is there as expected. Now say instead of outputting nothing, we want a different line to be shown if the customer is not eligible. We can solve this by adding yet another if statement, and inverting its condition by comparing the data with 0 instead of 1. But there is a quicker and cleaner way, by using the else statement instead. So after the if, and the content that should be included when the condition is true, let's put a placeholder with the symbol for else, which is a colon character with no arguments. Now comes the content that should be used if the if condition is false. Let's test this again by selecting the file for a non-eligible customer and process. Great. Note that while we're not going to show this here, if statements can also be nested. Meaning that an if can be followed by a new if before an end or else. The second if will then only be evaluated if the first one is true. Maybe you are familiar with if statements in programming languages. The behavior and possibilities in Rxindi are very similar. For more information, you can read up on if statements in the user manual. You can find a link to this in the description of this video. Now on to the second topic. What if the content contains not one value for some data, but multiple values, the amount of which you do not know up front? For example, the source data may contain not one product, but multiple ones. Rxindi can help out here, by repeating content based on data from the input. The statement that we'll use for this is called loop. Let's use it in our template to enable not one, but multiple products to be output. So in the template, just before where we output the product name, let's put a loop. The symbol is an asterisk, followed by an argument that specifies what to loop over. The loop statement can loop over either a list of items in the input data, or a set number of times based on a numeric value. In this case, we know that the input data has a list of products, simply named products, so let's type that here. Now, as with the if statement, we should indicate where we want the looping content to end, otherwise everything following it will be repeated. Again, we'll use the end statement. Let's save this and give it a go. Perfect. Loop has some additional goodies. For instance, you can also use the else statement here to output content in case the data referenced has no values. Additionally, some special variables become available within the loop. These indicate the current item number, and whether the current item is the first or last item. Without going into too much detail, we'll very briefly show what you can do with this. To save some time, we'll just paste this here. With these statements, the user should see a standard message in case of no data, just a single product in case of one, and a nicely comma-separated list in case of multiple products. Let's test it out. First, no data. Good. Now with one product. As expected. And now with multiple products. Great. Well, that's it for this video. As you can see, with only a few statements, some quite dynamic templates can be created using Rxindi. And we're only really getting started. There is much more to unpack. Make sure to check out the links in the description, and to watch the other videos in this Rxindi tutorial series. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.